Hello, my name is Ivy Hartman, and today I will be talking about the elements of delivery in a speech. The first element I'd like to talk about is volume. Volume is the loudness or softness of the speaker's voice. A good example of this is speaking at a good volume for the area that you're in, such as if you're in a bigger room with a larger audience where there's going to be more echo, you should speak at a louder tone, whereas if you were in a smaller room with a smaller audience, such as a library, you want to speak at a quieter tone. The bad example of this would be the opposite. If you're in a big room with a big audience, speaking at a quieter tone is going to make you go unheard. Whereas if you're in a library and you're speaking with a loud voice, you're going to be too loud. The second aspect is eye contact. This is the speaker's ability to have visual contact with the audience. This is good if the speaker is looking up at the crowd, looking out into the crowd, making eye contact with a few people. Whereas a bad example of this is if your speaker is not looking into the crowd at all, possibly looking at their notes too much. The third is rate, the speed that a person speaks. This can be good if the speaker is speaking at a good speed for where they're at. This can be bad if the speaker is speaking too fast, making their words hard to understand, or too slow, making the audience lose interest. Fourth is pitch, which is the highness or lowness of someone's voice. This is good to add emotion to your speech, whereas it can be bad if your pitch is going unmoving, which makes your speech boring, or if you speak too high or too low. Number 5 is facial expressions. Facial expressions are the appropriate looks to match the tone of your message, such as a good example being smiling when you're happy, as a bad example would be frowning when you're happy. Number 6 is articulation/enunciation. This is the ability to clearly pronounce each syllable to make a good word. A good example of this is clearly articulating what you're trying to say, whereas a bad example would be slurring your words together, not enunciating enough, and making your words hard to understand. Number 8 are pauses or breaks in the speech. These can be appropriate to add times of anticipation or allow your audience to reflect, such as if you're talking about a heavier topic, giving your audience a second to think about what they've just heard. This can be bad if you're overusing your pauses and it makes you sound like you don't know what you're talking about. You can use verbal filters, which is number 9, which are words like or more. This can be good, and it can indicate in something like a live debate that you just need more time to think and collect the thoughts that you have in your head, whereas it can be bad in a more formal setting where you should know what you're talking about, and it makes you sound uncredible to the audience. Number 10 is posture. This is standing straight and tall. It is good if you are standing straight and tall, and it makes the audience feel like you know what you're talking about. Whereas it's bad if you're standing slouched, it makes you harder to hear, and it makes your audience feel like you are less credible. This is all for today. Thank you for listening.